Hello friends, and thank you for visiting the SEDM website at sedm.org. And thank you for watching this video training on locating and contacting members in your area. This video will take approximately 15 minutes. It's a very important subject to learn because our members need to collaborate with each other frequently. They may want to schedule, for instance, a law study group in their area. They may want to contact other members for activism or political events, and so on. And the main mechanism for doing that is through the interface provided on our website. We value your privacy highly, and therefore information about our members is strictly confidential and is not available to the public. It's not available to guests on our website. It's only available to members, and that is basic members and member subscribers who are logged in to the site at the time they're viewing the information. How do we know this? Well, for instance, in the menus at the top up here, we have several entries under the Participate menu in the upper left corner that have asterisks after them. And entries with asterisks mean that that information requires you to be logged in as either a basic member or a member subscriber to view that information. And if we scroll down on this page, we will see that it's explained at the bottom. It says, note, asterisks at the end of menu items indicate content available only to either basic members or member subscribers who have signed in to the site. The menu entries that we're going to be using are primarily these entries here during this training. Site activity, activism map, the member list, and member profile search. All of those require you to be logged in. At the moment, we are not logged into the site. How do we know that? Because in the upper right corner here on the opening page, there's a login prompt provided. If we were logged in, instead we would see our username and a logout button below the username. We also know that we're not logged in because on the Participate menu, there's a login entry shown clearly. After we log in, that login entry will disappear. We also know if we click on the hamburger menu on the right side of the upper menu, we see a login as well. So we know that we're not logged in and that we have to log in to view the information. Let's click on one of these entries and see what happens if we try to access the information without logging in first. Let's click on the activism map. That's the primary one we're going to be using. And it gives us a warning. It says, this content is for basic member and member subscriber members only. Please register or log in to access. If you are not a member subscriber and this is a member subscriber content, please ensure that in addition to registering or logging in, you also sign up for a member subscription offering. For a video showing how to register, log in, and sign up for member subscriptions, see support page section 2.1. And if we click on this, it'll take us to that video and it'll show us how to sign up. But we can log in right from this screen as well, but instead we're going to hit the back button. So that's the warning message we get if we're not logged in and we try to access member information. So let's log in as a test user. And sometimes we also might want to click on Remember Me as well to stay logged in. If we do that, then we'll stay logged in at all times. So that logged us in, and now we can see that our username is displayed. And we also can click below that and to log out. We also see that the login entry in the Participate menu disappeared because now we're logged in. We also see that when we click on the hamburger menu, now there's a log out instead of a log in. So that's how we know we're logged in. And we can check that from most screens. So now we're going to talk about the two methods for locating other members. The first method is from the Participate menu by clicking on the activism map, and that will give us a graphical map of the United States. We can click on the state to find people in our state. The other place we can go to locate members is also on the Participate menu, and it's down under Member Profile Search. So once again, there are two ways to find people. This is primarily a text search, whereas this one up here, the activism map, is a graphical search. So let's start with the activism map first. So we'll click on that, and we will get a map of the United States, and it will have hot links on it. And we can click on the state that we're interested in. Let's click on Nevada, or we can click on Nevada over here as well. They're in alphabetical order. And we click on Nevada, and it will take us to the activism map for Nevada. And this screen takes a while to load because there's a lot of information on here. It's pretty complete. And so this is our activism map for the state of Nevada. And we have all the counties in here. We can look up counties in Nevada to find people in a specific county, for instance. We have the state emblem. We also have information about the state coordinator, which would be LOP, is his forum name. And we can click on here to contact him. If we want to narrow our search down, we can to the county that we're in, we can drop this list down and then hit find to locate that county. We can also see that there's a state activism team leader, and this is people who have entered information in their member profile to indicating that they would like to be activism team leaders. We also have information about state counties, state governments, constitutions, statutes. We also have news that's happening in the state. All this information is entered in the member forums. We also have events for that state as well. And then scrolling down, we have the county map, all the counties within the state. We can select the county here above the graphical map as well. And then at the bottom, we have a list of all the members who are in that state. Now, there's a very important thing you need to realize about this whole list. This list does not display everybody in a particular county or who's a member, or everybody in a state who is a member. And the reason it often doesn't display everybody is because in order to show up on this map, you have to populate your member profile completely. You have to enter, for instance, your city, your state, your zip, and so on. I mean, you never have to enter your name or your phone number or your mailing address. The information is strictly generic, and by the way, these usernames have no relationship usually to the actual birth name of each person. They're basically anonymized names that really don't mean anything. They're just a way to contact that person. But these are the names that people would use in the forum. So you might ask, well, how do I populate my member profile to make sure that I end up on this list so people can find me? Because that is a very important thing. If you want to find other people, then you need to make sure you can be found as well so they can find you. It turns out that we have another training video on that subject of managing your member profile, entering the information, and saving it. And that would be found in our support page, section 3.2, and it's entitled Forum Profile Management and Private Messaging. So that is where you would go to find out how to enter your personal information to make sure other people can find you. And if you have other people in your group who want to join the site, you probably want to encourage them to enter their profile information or they will never be found. And it's going to be a lonely situation because they'll never be found and nobody can locate where they are or find if they're close or contact them or anything. So make sure you populate your member profile. We don't force people to do it because we know that some people want to remain private. But the whole idea of joining this site is to make sure that you can interact with like-minded, freedom-minded people. So in this case, you have to enter at least a bare minimum of information so you can do that interaction. And once again, that information has to be entered in the member profile on the site. And we won't discuss how to enter that information here, but it's important to enter it at some point. So let's say we want to contact, we could have drilled down to the county and clicked on find, but right now let's just stay at the state level. And let's click on one of these people, creditor. Now, once we click on this, what it's going to do is it's going to take us to the member forums, and it's going to display the profile of this specific member. And it'll only do that, as we said before, if you're logged in. So if we click on this, it'll open up a new page and open up the profile for that member and extract his profile information from the forum software and display everything that we know about this person. And so we can see, for instance, all the activity. It opens up by default on all the activity of this person in the forum. So we can see this is a busy person. It opens on the activity page here. And we can look at his profile and see where he is. Click on that. And there's his profile. So he's in Nevada, in Washoe County, Reno, at this particular zip, and he wants to join a law study group in his area. We can also see who his friends are if he's permitted other people to view that. And when you set up your profile, you can control who can view who your friends are and other aspects about you. So you control how much people can find out about you in this screen that we're looking at here when you set up your own profile. And everybody has done that. So what we're looking at here is the information that this person has consented to share with other members, but which will not be available to the general public. We can see their groups, which groups they're in. We can see all their forum activity and the media that they've posted. Now, if we want to contact this person, then we would click on, there's 3 ways we can do it. We can click on Add Friend and send a friend request. And once they're our friend, once they've accepted the request, then they may have decided to share additional personal information about themselves in their member profile. And that all depends on how they set up their profile settings, as we explain in the support page, section 3.2. So you might want to go over that and make sure your profile settings reflect what you want other people to be able to see under all the given circumstances. So we can send a friend request. We can send them a public message that everybody else can read. And we can also send them a private message that only goes to them. And their profile settings determine whether they're going to get a notification on the site when they visit it after they receive a private message, or whether they're also going to receive an email when they get a private message. The default is that you get an email when somebody sends you a private message. So you get an email, you click on the link, it takes you back to the site, and then you read the message that somebody sent you when you click on the link, and you go back to the site and read it on the site. You don't read it in the email. So even if people are intercepting your email, they will not know what the message was. So that's how the messaging works, how to send the person a message. Now, we also want to emphasize that you want to be careful what information that you provide to other members. I mean, the information that's here is anonymous. It doesn't have your name or your phone number or your email address or your mailing address or anything. And so the information that you share with other people is determined only by you. And so you might want to be careful what you do share and how soon you share it. Because there are people who could conceivably be moles. There might be people who could conceivably be moles and who want to identify specific people and target specific people. And you know, we don't see a lot of those sort of people. And you know, in the last several years, we haven't heard about any of them. You know, if you do encounter a mole from the government, for instance, please notify us. But we haven't seen them in years. And the reason that they typically don't frequent our forums and try to contact other members is because they have to join and they have to consent to the member agreement before they do it, because otherwise they won't get access. That's what the registration process up here does when you register. So after you register, then you unconditionally consent to the member agreement. And so at that point, if they really are moles and they already consented to the member agreement, effectively they're going to commit commercial suicide and destroy their life, conceivably, if they abuse their access to become a mole and target people in the ministry maliciously. So we don't see that very often, but we did want you to know that that could conceivably happen. There's a remote chance of it. So you might want to make sure that the information you share about yourself is graduated. You don't share everything right away. You don't spill your guts. Even if you're going out to somebody with your first meeting, your mother probably told you, don't talk to strangers. And when you first meet them, they're strangers. And, it takes time to get to know them. And so how much information you share about yourself is determined by how long you've known them and how credible they seem to be. So let's click on private message, because that's the most typical way you're going to communicate with these people. We'll click on private message. We'll get a very simple screen here that shows us a way to enter a message to send to this person. Here it is. So we can add additional receivers of this message up here, and we just basically type in the subject and the message, and then we just click on send message. And then what happens is when they get the message, they will have a little notification circle up here, and they can check their messages. And the place they would go to check their own messages is they click on the hamburger menu and they click on messages. So they could go in there and read their messages and reply and so on, just like email. This is somewhat of a private email system for messaging between members within the ministry. So let's close our hamburger menu again, our side menu. And by the way, let's actually open up that messages to find out what it's going to look like if we're actually reading a message from somebody else. There it is. Okay, so it took us to the messages folder on our own profile. Here we are. It took us to the messages folder, and we can see that we haven't received any messages. It took us to the inbox initially. We can also click on look at our history of the messages that we've sent. We can compose a new message, and so on. We can also search our messages over here. There's a search function for our messages that we've received and sent. So it's a pretty complete interface. And all of this stuff is implemented by the WordPress BuddyPress plugin. The entire site is structured as a WordPress site. We use the BuddyPress for all the member interactions and messaging, and we use the BBPress for the forums. And it's pretty complete, and it's well integrated. And best of all, it's free. So that is the way that you locate people geographically using the activism map. The other way we mentioned when we began this is you can do a member profile search. And it has an asterisk, so you have to be logged in as well. So we'll click on that, and let's locate people based on their profile information. And that way we can do a very narrowed down search. And we say that use this page to search our member directory to locate someone to join your study group, to initiate or participate in activism events, and to start a law, study, or activism group in your area. And so basically you just fill in the profile fields that you want to, with the value that you're looking for. And you can, so you fill it all in just the way you want it. You can even specify how they answered specific questions. Try to make it as generic as you can. So you fill it in just the way you like it. And then you might want to start with just one or two. Like you might want to start with the city and the state, or the state and the county up here. And then just hit search. Just keep it real simple. And then you can narrow it down more and more, because it's not going to list the profile information in the hit list that you get back, the results list in the search. But if the people end up in the results for the search, then they fit the criteria that you specified before you did the search. So that is the other way you can do it. And typically we just use it for geographical purposes. Basically the county and the city is what we use, and sometimes the zip. So that's another way to find people. So let's type in the state name just like we did on the original opening map, Nevada. Hit enter, and then we'll click on search. Now keep in mind that it's really important here. There's no drop-down list for the city or the state here. You have to punch it in. And so when you punch it in, you need to punch it in carefully. You need to spell it carefully because otherwise it's definitely not going to match anything that's known. So spell it carefully. And then you click on search. And then you'll get a similar list to what we got from the activism map, but it'll look a little different. And you're just going to see a list of basically members. Here are the members. So and we can click on one of these and look at basically their profile again. So let's click on this. We can set it to private message right from here, or we can click on the profile itself and see all the information about this member. Click on that. So let's see what we have here. And so it's the same interface that we got from the activism map. So those are the two ways to locate people. You can drill down geographically through the activism map, or you can drill down through the profile search. Either way, and they both work equally well. The profile search probably is a little more detailed and specific. Now let's backtrack here. Now that list that we got when we searched for Nevada, did you notice that it only had 2 entries in it instead of a lot more that we had on the activism map? Well, the reason for that is because we did a conversion on this site recently, and not everybody has re-registered under the new system. And if they haven't re-registered and reactivated, or if they didn't enter any profile information, then they won't show up in that list. So that's why it's important to make sure that you enter all your profile information. Really important. The other thing we want to emphasize here is that when you contact people through their profile and you send them a private or a public message, they will receive an email if they selected to do that, but you will not get their email address. They will receive a message, and they will know who's trying to contact them by their username, and they can look at your profile to find out more about you in responding, but they're not required to disclose their email address or any information about themselves in order to reply back to you. And so once again, that is an important way to protect your privacy and the privacy of all members. So they will never see your email address, your phone number, your name, your mailing address, or anything else about you until you give it to them personally and individually. Usually, the usual method of sharing that information is to send them back a private message and give them your phone number initially, or your email address. That would be the initial method to strike private conversation outside the site. And then beyond that, you could use email, for instance. So let's go back to the opening page. So this concludes our treatment of locating and contacting members in your area. We hope you've learned a lot. Thank you for watching this presentation, and we look forward to interacting with you in the future. Thank you, and God bless you.